Welcome back, everybody, to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're diving into a more technical video. I'm somewhat of a computer building enthusiast. I have a full water cooling setup in my build, and I recently just got my hands on a MSI 5090 Gaming Trio Overclock Edition, and I want to water block it. I want that puppy water cooled. So guess what's in this box right here? This is a Alphacool water block for the MSI Gaming Trio, and today we're going to install it. Because guess what? These cards are very rare, and these water blocks also very rare, and I doubt there's a lot of them out there, so I want to be one of the few people on YouTube that actually gets to put this puppy on there, and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. Let's get right into it. Alright, so I just opened the box. We're going to be opening this up together because I've actually never owned any sort of Alphacool water block before, so I don't even know what to expect here. I know they're pretty widely well received in the cooling community, so I'm kind of curious. Looks like we just got like a basic invoice here. Nothing crazy. Packing looks pretty good. Let's see. Nothing else in the box. That can just go away. Don't care about it. Here it is, baby. Oh, oh yeah. We got the Alphacool cooler box right here. Doesn't look like anything super crazy, but not too bad. Kind of like seeing this. Ooh, look at this. There's also some interesting little like design specs on there. Don't know if that has any actual meaning to it or if it's just, I don't know, some nice flavor. Anyways, it looks pretty nice. Alright, so we've got a nice little box here, nothing crazy. Got some nice little decals on there. Hope that's going to come through in the camera. As you can see, this is the core GPU block. Got some extra little design details on here. Don't know how much that's going to come out in the video, but it's there. I don't know that it actually means anything, but it looks nice. That's kind of cool. Let's go ahead and open this up. Like we've got immediately right on top the instructions. That's going to be useful. Looks like it comes with some various hardware. Looks like we've got a couple different screws, some thermal pads. Ooh, it does come with thermal grease. Interesting. Okay. And we've also got a putty tool. I don't know that I'm actually going to use their thermal paste. If I have to apply it myself, I actually might be putting on some thermal grizzly. It's just my own personal preference. I actually bought two different kinds today. Gonna figure out at some point in this video which one I'm actually going to use, but I've got some new Thermal Grizzly Duro Knot that I'm thinking about using. Sorry for the glare there, hopefully that's not too bad. And then I also got a PTM phase change sheet as well. I'm actually kind of leaning towards this one because I think this one's going to be better long-term performance. And I think these actually have been kind of blowing up a little bit lately. Even LTT has been kind of making some of their own, and looks like they perform pretty well. So I might actually be going with this one. We'll see, though. All right, let's see what else we've got in the box. Nothing crazy there. Here, woohoo! Here it is, ladies and gents. See if I can carefully get this out of here without ripping the bag. Oh man, this thing's got some weight to it. That is really sharp. Very nice looking. Got this nice little wrap on here. You can see the core logo right there in the middle. Hopefully you guys can see that in the video with all the glare that's going on right now. This boy is kind of thick too. Pretty thick. It's like a whole inch right there. This thing is very well made, very heavy. It's got some weight to it. Get it out of the package, shall we? Oh, that is just beautiful looking. Looks like we've got threading for the inlet and outlet right here on the front. See, do we also have it in the back? Yes, we do. So we can route it either way. Hopefully there's a couple plugs somewhere in the box so I can plug up the two holes that I don't use. Be kind of silly if they didn't include that. But this block looks gorgeous. Oh my god. I've never had an Alphacool product before, but this looks freaking great. Now there's also supposed to be, can't tell where, I think down in here on the bottom is a RGB strip that we can use to actually light this thing up, which would look really nice. We've also got the, must be the ARGB header for it. Yep, looks like that. So that's how we're going to control our lighting. Pretty nice, dude. This chrome finish is just really nice looking. Really like that. Let's go ahead and set this down over here. Oh, styrofoam broke. I'm glad they have it in there. All right, looks like we've got a little accessory box. Let's see what we've got in here. This is probably going to be all the thermal pads and screws and whatnot that we need. 4 cooler, 1 millimeter. All right, so these must be, I'm assuming 1 millimeter thick pads. Oh, for the cooler, got it. Okay, and then these are for the back plate. Looks like we got some thicker 3 millimeter pads. Okay, interesting. Very cool. And now we've got our little thermal paste. We've also got the putty tool and what looks to be some sort of screwdriver. Looks like a little Phillips head. Really, Phillips? Kind of surprised they went with Phillips, but whatever. All right, and then there's also 2 longer screws in there. I wonder what those are going to be for. And then we've got, let's see what else we've got here. This must be, aha. We've got, oh, here's the little, I don't know if you guys can see them in the bag, but here's the little plugs that I was just talking about. Hopefully those focused on camera. We're going to use those to plug up the holes that we're not using. There's also what looks to be like some sort of adapter or header in here. Aha. It is our ARGB header, so we can control the lighting. Definitely going to need that. And then this guy, I don't know what the heck this is. Like a, oh, it's a little tool for turning the caps or the little plugs. Bet you if we pull one of those plugs out. There we go. We got the little plug here. Ooh, that's a nice chrome finish on that. Okay, yep, look at that. Fits perfectly. So that'll turn our little plugs so we can get those in the cooler. Very nice. So it looks like the thermal paste that they included was Alphacool Apex. Now, I don't know anything about Alphacool's thermal paste. Especially nothing about like different kinds of thermal paste that they have, so, whatever this is called, Apex. So maybe I'll take a quick look at that, see if that sounds like something I want to install. But I have a feeling no matter what I find, I'm probably going to go with the Thermal Grizzly anyway. All right, so I just looked it up online. This Alphacool Apex paste isn't necessarily terrible, but the Thermal Grizzly Duronut is going to vastly outperform this. So I think this is just going to go in my little junk drawer for when I desperately need some paste. But it's probably not going to be my go-to, and we're going to stick with the Thermal Grizzly. So thanks, Alphacool, but I'm going to pass on this one. All right, well, now we've got the water block out of the box. Now it's time to get my graphics card out of my computer, start disassembling it so we can put this bad boy on there. Now, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to keep recording this without my graphics card, but I don't know. That's my problem. I guess I'll figure it out. We'll see you in a second. All right, ladies and gents. So I tried really hard to figure out how to get my computer to record with just my CPU encoding, but the quality was actually so bad that it's just not worth it. So for the remainder of the video, we're actually going to be doing this on my phone. So apologies for the probably drop in quality there, but we're going to get through it just the same. So we've got the graphics card out of the computer, and now we're just looking around for some details on where we can start to disassemble this thing. So you can see on the back plate here, there are a couple of screws here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phillips head screws on the back that we could take out. I'm actually kind of surprised that those are just Phillips, that they didn't go for something a little bit less strippable, we'll say. And then on the back here, we've also got 1 screw, Phillips head screw right here for the mounting plate. And if we pick this puppy up, you can also see there are 2 screws there as well. There's one on the bottom and then one on the top. So we're gonna start taking those out and see where that gets us. And then one other thing to mention here, looks like there is one screw that's being covered up by a factory seal from the warranty. So I'm assuming if you break this factory seal, you're probably also foregoing your warranty. Kind of crappy that they do that, you know, whole right to repair thing, but that's a whole nother topic in itself. So just know that if you break this seal, you're probably gonna have some trouble with the warranty. They should still warranty it anyways, you know, if you kind of fight back, but this is something that they'll use against you most likely. Alright, well somehow I have managed to jerry-rig the most asinine contraption to hold my phone. I'll see if I can take a picture of it after the fact, but it looks like it's going to work for now. Holy cow, I can't believe that's actually working. Alright, so we're going to start taking these screws off here one by one. Met with a little bit of resistance there. I wasn't sure if I was actually starting to strip the screw or not. I'm not sponsored, but I'm using my LTT screwdriver here. This is honestly one of my favorite screwdrivers that I've ever used. The fact that it has the ratcheting function and the magnetic tip, very nice. Alright, so when you're taking apart something this expensive, it's best to just start with the things that you can see. So we're going to start taking these screws out and see where we land. Alright, now we got to take this little factory sticker off. Because of course they've got a little factory sticker. You know what, we're just going to go right through it. We're not even taking it off. Look at that. It's like, it's perfect. Okay, so we've also got one screw back here for the mounting plate as well. Sure, see if we can take that out. We're going to keep all these screws separated, so if we ever decide to put this thing back together one day, we actually know where everything is. Alright, now we're going to take out these two screws on the mounting plate back here that I showed you earlier. Ooh, the back plate's already feeling pretty loose, which kind of gives me some hope that maybe this actually won't be that difficult. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you start taking apart something that costs almost $3,000 frickin' dollars, but, you know, such is the life of somebody that wants to water cool. Alright. Make sure we keep this screw nice and safe. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put those even a little bit further away just so I don't, you know, make a mistake like a klutz. Alright, so we got the mounting plate. That has come off. Alright, let's see. Can we take the back plate off? Maybe? Hey, there we go. Back plate is off. Looks like they just had a couple thermal pads on there. Looks like it was covering... looks like it was actually covering a little bit of the rear of the graphics card. It was covering some of that back here. And it looks like it was also maybe covering up some, looks like some memory or something up there. Nothing super crazy. Let's go ahead and set this puppy aside now. Alright, so now, see if I can grab my phone here. Now, if we look a little bit closer, now we can do the actual mounting plate here for the, or not the mounting plate, the pressure plate for the cooler here. Looks like we've got some more screws here. So we got a screw here holding the PCB in, another screw up here. We've got one right here as well. We've got another one down here at the bottom. And then we've got two more over here. So it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws to take out. So we're going to take those out first before we start messing with the pressure plate. My hope is that well, actually, I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know. We'll see. I think we may have to take them all out at the same time. Let's see if I can take a look around this thing real quick, see if I can see anything else. Okay, so something else I noticed, just kind of looking around this thing, you can see right here, looks like this is where the 3 fan connectors are connecting in. They are color-coded there. I don't know exactly what they mean, but it's probably front, middle, and back. They got red and a white and a black. Nothing super crazy. Looks like they wire down into the fans. So I don't think that's anything super crazy. We're just going to have to be, you know, aware of those when we start pulling the PCB up so that we don't break anything. Alright, so I gave it a once over. Didn't notice anything else that would be overly concerning. So I think we're just going to start taking these side screws out, and then we might start working on the pressure plate. Gonna keep all these separated, make sure, because these things are usually pretty intricate. It's good to make sure that the screws are always the same size when you take them out, and if they're a different size, then you need to make sure they you record where they came from. It's very important. If you ever decide to put this thing back together, you'll need to know that. Alright, let's see, are these the same? So let's see. I don't think they are. I think they're different, actually. Actually, I think they are the same. We got a little washer on there. Actually, they are different. The heads are a little bit thinner on these two over here, so we're going to separate those. Okay, all those look the same. Everything looks good. So now we got to take this pressure plate off. And we're going to want to be careful when we do that because it's obviously it's under full load right now. So we want to make sure we do this nice and slow. We're going to do a few turns on each corner at a time to start relieving some of that pressure. And then once we get towards the end and this thing's about to start popping off, we're going to want to make sure that we do it carefully, make sure we hold the screw down. We don't want to screw flying off into the distance or we'll never find it again. But thankfully we have a magnetic tip screwdriver and a steady hand, so we should be just fine. Alright, there you go. You see that? We got our first pop. Nice and controlled. No mess. It's exactly what we like to see. Alright, this one's probably going to pop too. Yep, there it goes. Very, very nice. Go ahead and get that screw out of there. These are obviously very different screws, so we're going to want to keep those separated. So now, the scary part's kind of over. The tension's already popped. This thing is just chilling there now. So now we can go ahead and take these screws out. Okay, there we go. Now we can go ahead and take this pressure plate off, nice and gentle. There we go. Very nice. Go ahead and stick all those screws together. Probably going to do a little bit of cleanup before I start actually putting the new water block on, but I think we should be able to start peeling this up a little bit. Now we got to be a little careful because I would be highly surprised if there wasn't thermal pads underneath this, kind of sticking it to the cooler. And then we also have the fan connectors over here to worry about. So we're going to try to do this very gently, very slowly, very controlled. See if we can just start peeling up a corner, go from there. Very slowly. It's not a race. Just gonna take a look, make sure. Yeah, because it looks like there's just a bunch of thermal pads under there, and I can't think of anywhere else where this would still be screwed in. So I think it's just the thermal pads just sticking it on there real nice, which I'm not surprised. Oh, there we go. And it just came off. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and disconnect these fans. Looks like they just pop right out. See if I can get the camera over here for a second. All right, so we got the PCB off. There is the GPU right there with all that thermal paste. We're gonna take that off. Screw that. And then it looks like we got actually a handful of connectors here. There's a total of 5. So we've got 3 fan headers, and then we've also probably got the RGB controllers in there as well. There's 2 sets of RGB strips in this cooler, so it's probably 1 for each of the RGB strips. But we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get those out very gently. See if I can set my phone down over here without it flopping around like a dead fish. All right. And it flopped around like a dead fish. Give me a second. All right, so I wanted to show you this part, but I couldn't find a nice camera angle for my phone. But when you look at this, they just pop out. Just be very careful. Don't pull by the wires. You know, kind of wiggle it just a little bit, right? But then once it kind of comes out a little bit, see if you can get your nail or something underneath the connector. And then you should be able to start slowly wiggling that puppy out of there. Eventually. And then these little guys, they just pop out as well. Doesn't look like they have any sort of locking mechanism, so just go ahead and be careful with those when you pull them out. You don't want to break them. There we go. We got 3 of the 5. Let's see if we can go ahead and get these last 2 out. Okay, so this one actually looks like there's a little clip in there. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm supposed to get that clip out. That's kind of a problem. There we go. All right, so kind of worked if I actually pushed down a little bit on it so that the little clips kind of went through the little hole there. I don't know how else to describe that, but if you push down a little bit, seems like they pop right out. There we go. Perfect. All right, look at that. We now have a completely loose 5090 PCB. Holy cow. That was actually really stressful at the end there. I was getting kind of worried about that, but it looks like we got it out just fine. Wow, these things are crazy looking. All right, I think next step is going to be I think we're going to look at the Alphacool instructions, but I think what they have us do is actually take off all of these thermal pads, and then we'll take off the stock thermal paste as well, and then we're probably going to put on the Thermal Grizzly Duro Knot. I think that's the one I'm going to go with. Alright, so we've got the instructions here. Looks like the first step, I don't know how well this is going to come through on the camera, but it looks like we're going to take the back plate off, and there's also a little spacer in there that they included to basically keep it safe from damage during transit. So we got to go ahead and take that off. And then there's also a handful of specified locations here where we're going to be installing some thermal pads. Shouldn't be too crazy. The instructions actually seem pretty clear, and all the pads are individually marked. So that will be very nice. Let's go ahead and get started on that. Alright, so we're going to actually just slide this puppy over here. We're going to take this little piece of styrofoam. We're going to work on top of this guy. Make sure we don't scratch up the faceplate here. Looks like we got a bunch of Phillips head screws again. Again, I don't know why are people using Phillips head screws on stuff that's so expensive? Use like a Torx bit or something at least. Phillips heads are so prone to like stripping, you know? I almost feel like I would expect more from something that's so expensive, you know what I mean? Come on, little buddy, I believe in you. There you go. Alright, we're going to take all these puppies out. This is probably going to take a minute. There's actually like quite a few of them, and my magnetic screwdriver is not grabbing them. All right, looks like that. Oh, nope, missed one. Hang on. All right, that looks like all the back plate screws are out. Should just pop right off. Yes, it does. Very nice. Oh, man, this is looking fancy. Ooh, all right, be careful with those. Those apparently pop off. Don't want to lose those. Or is that what it's actually telling me to remove? Hang on. All right, well, looks like that's actually exactly what we're going to remove. We have to take away all of these little spacers. So, funny enough, my mistake was actually what was supposed to happen. Oh, well, just lost that one. But considering I don't think I'll ever need them again, it's probably not that big a deal. I found it anyways, whatever. All right, cool. So now, let's grab... Okay, we've got our cooler 1mm thermal pads, and we're going to grab our instructions here. Just lay these right in front of me so I can see exactly what's going on. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be putting a couple of big boys right here in these channels. Got one right here, 4 little boys for these, 2 right here, and then some long boys right here. Alright, well, considering all of these are basically one size, I don't think I'm going to have any trouble figuring out which one goes where, which is kind of nice. Does this have anything on it that I need to peel off? Yes, it does. So it looks like each thermal pad has a adhesive sticker on each side. So we're going to have to peel those off somehow, very carefully. Oh, almost got it. Alright, actually, hang on. Let's fit these real quick. Make sure I've got everything in the right spot. So that will go there. This one looks like it goes there. So basically, if you're even remotely okay with basic shapes, you should be able to figure out where these go. Okay. And, oop, slippery. Man, that is really slippery. Holy cow. Okay, so you're going to go there. And then you are going to go right there. And then we've got all these little boys. Okay, so I think we've got everything figured out where everything's going to go. Feels pretty good. I think this is my first time ever actually putting on thermal pads. This is kind of interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and start with these ones. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and just gently lay this down. Ooh, careful, make sure we actually get it straight. Alright, well, at least looks like I can make a mistake or two and then still have it straightened out okay. Alright, there we go. We got the first one on. Looks good. These are kind of a pain to peel. You can tell how spoiled I've been in the past. I'm normally a Corsair boy using the Hydro X series. You know, they kind of have all this stuff like already pre-applied, so you don't have to worry about it yourself. It's actually kind of nice that they do that. I wish Alphacool would do that, but at the same time, this is kind of a nice learning experience, so I'll take it as that. Okay. Oops. Oh. Oop, that is not going to happen. Redo that one. Ooh, that one's a snug fit. Alright. Looks good though. Got it nice and on there. This is going to take me forever. Sorry, guys. Probably going to speed through this. Alright, this is looking pretty good so far. We've got all the main ones on right now. Now we're going to work on these long boys on the side, and then I think we'll start tackling all these tiny little guys. Now, I don't know that these necessarily need to be, like, super straight. I assume they would. I mean, I assume it would be helpful if they were, because, I mean, you think about what you're cooling under this thing, you're going to want it to be, maximize its efficiency. Holy cow, this is tedious as hell. Alright. Now we just got all these little boys to put on. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I've got 6 pads. Perfect. Some of these are almost like slightly oversized. So that's a little weird. But I guess they can't all be like perfect. Alright, there we go. We got all the cooler pads on. Let's go ahead and see what it says for the next step. Looks like now it wants us to apply the thermal grease. It doesn't say anything about remove. Oh wait, here we go. Prepare the graphics card. Put the hardware on the anti-static mat. Yeah, we totally did that. Let's see. All right, yeah. So it does actually say to in the instructions to go through the old PCB and pull off all of the old thermal pads and remove the old thermal paste, which I kind of figured it would, but just good to make sure. All right, let's go ahead and slide this out of the way for just a moment. Let's bring the PCB back over here. All right, now we're gonna start peeling off all these thermal pads here. It's kind of scary. All right, so yeah, because if we look at the design of this, so like these side pads here, they're gonna get all this memory here, this big pad up here. It's gonna get these memory chips, and then we got the 2 down here for these 2 memory chips. So makes sense that they would want all of this removed. This is effectively a replacement. Which means I'm probably never going to be able to resell this graphics card as is, which is fine. I'll just sell it as a cooler. Say, hey, if you want this card, you better have a water cooling setup, because I ain't putting this back together. Alright, cool. So we got all the thermal pads off, and we're going to get this thermal grease off. I'm just going to go ahead and use a little tissue here. That didn't work that great. Screw that, we're not doing that. I have some shop towels. Alright, here we go. We got some nice shop towels. This will do the trick. Man, this stuff is dried up. Holy cow, this thing is dry. Alright, I think we're also going to use just a little dab of isopropyl alcohol here as well, so we can pick up the rest of it. This is just 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can get this mostly at pretty much any drugstore, I think. But it's safe to use on electronics. It evaporates extremely quickly, but it should be just enough to get some of this excess paste off. Oops. Alright. Not too shabby. There we go. Look at that. There's the GPU die. Holy cow. Let's see. GB202-300-A1, a 5090 GPU. Holy cow. I hope this is focusing on the camera, but that is very cool to see. Alright, now that we've got all that cleaned up, let's take another look at the instructions and see what else we've got to do here. Let's see. So now I think we're going to take on the backplate pads. Let's see. So we apply thermal grease, make sure it's nice and covered over the GPU. Then we're going to go ahead and install the PCB. And then once the PCB is on the cooler, then we're going to go ahead and plop on some backplate thermal pads on the rear of the GPU. Oh, looks like they got a thermal pad for the power connector. That'll be useful for when it's, you know, pulling almost 600 watts. All right, we've got the cooler back in front of us here. Now it can only go one. Oh wait, actually we're not quite ready yet. I forgot. We still need to peel off the other side of the pads. I specifically waited on that piece until I was ready. Look at that. Crazy. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a pain in the ass. There you go. Stay there, buddy. Don't move. I don't need you to move. Okay, we got the two long ones, and let's see if we can get these small boys. I feel like these ones are going to be a pain. Alright, well there's one. 5 more to go. Ah, man, these small ones suck. Oh, don't come up on me. You're staying there, bud. There you go. Alright. Let's keep it rolling. We're going to take an old quote from some rally drivers here as slow is steady and steady is fast. So we're going to take it nice and slow and steady, not make any mistakes. We're going to be very careful. Come on, buddy. There we go. Oh, no, don't come up. You're supposed to stay there. I just want your peel. There we go. That one actually kind of picked up a little bit, but should be fine. I'm going to push that sucker back down. We've only got one left. One little boy left over here at least. Man, these little ones freaking suck. Alright, we're going to have to, I think, try to reseat this one. Nope. Don't even think about it. There you go. Alright, cool. We got that one reseated. Thank God. Alright, let's see if we can take these off now. Okay. That was nice. That one was like almost satisfying. There we go. One more. Last one. There we go. That is all the peels. Check and make sure they're all tacky. Yes, they are. We got them all. Okay. Now this can only go on one way, and you can tell by the thermal pads. So this top bar here is going to be going right here. Sidebars going to go right here, and then the two little guys are going to go right here. So really can't mess this up. It can only go on one way. Make sure all the holes are lined up. Looks good. I can see all the holes, which is very nice. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and grab our other set of 3mm backplate thermal pads. Let's see, I'm guessing these also probably have peels on them. Or do they not? Yes, they do. Okay. So these ones are less obvious, but they still kind of make sense. Alright, so you can kind of see, like, I'm going to try to show you on the camera here. Maybe I'll just grab the camera. So you can see this is how they're supposed to be laid out on the board. Obviously, none of that is marked on the back of the PCB, but if we use our brains, we can kind of figure it out. So we've got M up top here, which means M is going to be this section right here. We're going to cover that. And then we've got the J's going down the side, so that's obviously going to be like these right here. Nice and easy. And then we've got two N's down at the bottom, which is probably going to be these little guys right here, which these are the backside of the little memory chips, which makes total sense. So let's go ahead and open this up. See if we can start with any of them, I guess. They all have peels on them, so come on. Come on, get out of the bag. Come on, I believe in you. You can do it. Alright, there we go. Got them all out. So now, oh my god. Okay, so we're going to do K first. Looks like it's just going to go around the center here. This one looks like one you don't want to mess up. Okay, see if we can gently lay it down over the top there. Dude, what the heck? How are you supposed to do this? Is it supposed to go over it? Like, I feel like it shouldn't be touching it, right? Am I crazy? Or does it not matter? Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess it wouldn't matter if it's telling us to drop pads right on these anyways. So it's probably safe. Just gonna use my own powers of deduction there. I'm gonna peel this up carefully without like ripping the whole thing off again. There we go. Okay, got that boy on there. Where's that little smudge tool? Maybe I'll use that to... Oh shit! I didn't put the thermal paste on. Oops. Alright, so I guess we're not quite done yet then. I'm gonna have to put that on. Crap. So let's go ahead and move this over here just for a second. Grab our PCB. And I just pulled out the conductor knot and can't find it. Oh, there it is. Alright. So we're just going to try to go for a nice thin layer, but we want to make sure that we're covering the entire GPU die. There should be no space left uncovered with this thing. Let's go ahead and start with that. Let's see how well that spreads. Oh, we're going to need so much more. Hang on. There we go. Okay, not necessarily the cleanest application that I've ever done, but it is looking pretty dang good. And of course, that thermal pad on the back is sticking to the bag, which makes me upset, but not much I can do about that. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Maybe we just do a slow peel and it'll be fine. Ta-da! Yeah, buddy. All right, so we got thermal paste on. Everything looks nice and good, nice and clean. So make sure we go ahead and get this lined up again. We're gonna plop it back down. Make sure everything lines up again. Okay, everything's looking nice and good. We're gonna line up all the holes before we actually stick it down this time. Okay, you can see all the holes. We're gonna let her down nice and gently. Make sure all the holes stay visible. Looks good. Looks good. All right, all right. I think we're gonna be in good shape here, friends. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and we're just gonna give her just a little bit of a press, so it kind of like sits in there a little bit better. Okay, we got the K on there still, which is good. Thank God that didn't rip. I was a little bit worried about that. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. I actually have the thermal paste on there, thank God. Okay, so we've got two long ones, which are J. We've got the medium one, which is going to go up top. We've got L, which is going to cover the power port over here. Looks like it goes... So it's not covering the pins necessarily. This is kind of actually tight to show you guys. So if we look at the graphic here, L, as you can see, it's not going to be covering the, where is it? Come on, there it is. Focus a little bit, there we go. We're not going to cover these pins down here in the bottom. We're actually just going to go up towards the top, like right here, as it shows in the picture, because it looks like we're not trying to cover up those pins. Okay, that's on there. Let's go ahead and do M next, which is going to be this medium piece up at the top. Just going to slit or slot in right between these two screw holes here. Very nice, very nice. And then we've got J, which is going to go on the sides. Going to cover up all the rears of these memory chips. Keep them nice and cool, which I'm a big fan of that. Okay. Looks good. Now we're going to move on to the other side. Okay. Nice and covered. Everything looks good. I give them just a little bit of a press before we start peeling them up. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm not ready to peel that up yet. Where's my last two? Here we go. Got my ends. And they are just going to go on the back of these memory chips right here. Oops. Okay. There's one. Yeah, these thicker pads are much easier to work with than the 1mm. Okay, cool. So now we've got all of our pads on. Let's just do a quick check of the instructions, make sure everything's in the right spot. Looks like we're good. All right, it's time to actually mount the back plate back on. I think we're done. Let's go ahead and peel these suckers off. Okay, looking good. Just gonna use one of the peels from a different thing. It didn't even help. All right, don't do that either, I guess. Just be gentle with it, and you should be fine. I'm sure there's a trick to this, that there's somebody out there who's like, dude, you know you could just do this like one thing and it would be like super easy. And I'd say, hey, I wish I knew that before I did this. But I'm kind of proud of myself that I did it the hard way successfully. Alright, cool. So now we've got all the pads on there. Make sure... Okay, yep, got all the stickies off. We're good to go. I'm just tapping them to make sure that they feel tacky, you know, that they don't also feel like a peel, just making sure I got everything. Alright, I think we're ready for the back plate. Let's go ahead and... Oh, hang on a minute. So we've got the back plate, and we've also got this handy dandy little mounting bracket back here as well that we're going to try to stick on. Let's see. How are you going on here is the question. How do you go on there? Okay, well I see I already would have made a mistake. Let's see. Let's go ahead and move all you guys off of here. Looks like we need to kind of slide the mounting plate in position first, and then we can go ahead and start actually mounting the back plate. So I'm actually going to just move this over just a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Aha, I see. I see. That's going to be kind of annoying. That's going to be tough. Okay. So, got that. Might have to rip off this plastic, or the styrofoam. That is not even close to accurate, bud. Oops. See that? We moved one of those pads a little bit. Move that pad back. Stay there, buddy. I'll try to do better next time. Okay. It's a little off, but I think we're still going to be fine. Can I see the holes? I think so. Alright, so we're going to do this back plate first, or this mounting plate first. So that is already going to be really annoying, I can tell. And my screwdriver doesn't want to pick those up, so why would it? Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can just slaughter in here and pray that it's in there. I have a feeling it's not quite. Aha! Oh, nope, that is not it. That wasn't it, bud. Okay, and there we go. Now it's in. Okay, just gonna go. We're not gonna go tight. We don't want to go tight. We just want to get everything threaded in first, and then we can go from there. He's in. They're like, you can't tell if they're like actually in it. Oh yeah, I guess they are in. Alright, cool. And make sure all the screws can go in and fit before we continue. Is to make sure that we don't run into any alignment issues when we start tightening all this stuff down. we just have this one screw on the end here that just does not like me. Alright, this is going to take me a second here. Aha, I think we got it. Aha, we sure did. Okay, so we've got the back plate on. Oh god, that was a terrible sound. Alright, so now we're going to just kind of start slowly tightening these in a somewhat of a star pattern. So we don't want to do them, you know, one at a time. We want to make sure they're all tightened equally for an even contact, well, I guess that's it, even contact. Okay, doing good. Now we're going to start tightening them a little bit more. Alright, so it doesn't tell me how much to torque these down, but I think we're going to kind of follow the same general rule of all PC parts, and that is snug, not tight. And especially considering these are Phillips screws, I would rather not strip them out. God, did you hear that? They're already starting to strip. God, I hate Phillips for this. Alright, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a water-blocked 5090 MSI gaming trio. The only thing left to do is to plumb this up, turn it on, and make sure I didn't kill a $3,000 graphics card. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are all in. Everything's working. This thing is freaking beautiful. We are chilling right now at 26 degrees Celsius idle. This thing is a freaking champ, and it looks freaking amazing. Look at that. That chrome with the RGB strip on the bottom. Freaking beautiful, man. Now, don't worry about my cable management here. I just kind of sloppily plugged it all in just to make sure it works. I'm going to clean it up a little bit so it actually looks like a enthusiast put this together. And you can see my little anti-sag mounting thing that I've used to just kind of hold up my res pump. Because when I had the MSI Gaming Trio in here, it was so freaking big that it literally did not fit at all with the res pump over there. So I had to actually demount it and shove it in the corner like it was a troubled child to even get the graphics card to fit. But this thing looks beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is it. This is a very different video for me, so I tried to keep it informative and straight to the point. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is something certainly very different for me. Very wary about putting technical stuff on the internet, you know, liabilities and whatnot. So, you know, if you are looking to do this, you know, just as a disclaimer, you know, do your research. If you do it, you're doing it at your own risk. Don't follow my video exclusively. Do your research, look up a few videos, and make sure that you know what you're doing before you do this, because these graphics cards are incredibly expensive. And with the price hikes probably soon to come, even more, they're probably going to keep going up. So don't damage your investment. Do the research, take it slow, do it right, and you'll get it done. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm going to go enjoy this beast, and I'm going to see what I can do with it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.